So do you actually feed them throughout the winter?
We do, Joe, yeah. As much as, yeah, definitely they slow down a little bit during the winter with their feeding, but as we all know as anglers. But yeah, certainly we try and trickle a little bit of food into them. We don't get any real growth out of them, but it's just keeping them in condition, right? And after what we went through in December, right, they could do with a bit of food now because they've used up quite a lot of their reserves and stuff like that. But these have come through brilliant. God, they're nice and chunky, aren't they? They're not gonna. You wouldn't say they've starved this year, would you?
No, certainly not.
So
no.
yeah, sort of about
same sort of food.
We tend to use a very sort of low oil pellet, right, as low as we can get. So when we feed fish this time of year, like it can take 3 or 4 days for that actually to go through the fish.
Really?
Right? Yeah, and so when we harvest these, any fish on the farm, we'll always starve them for about a week, right, 10 days before we harvest them. Like they would travel, I'd take those to Yorkshire and not even think about it. Stop once on the way, because I need to stop and stretch my legs when I'm delivering them. And you just check them, they're fine. They'll sit like that for hours. So
wow.
As long as we've got nice clean water and oxygen, right, they're happy as Larry, really. Well, I don't know, not happy, but right, they deal with it very well. So there's about 65 fish there. I reckon they're probably averaging 12. What we'll do now, we'll move them down to where we're going to put them, like a bigger pond for next year, and they'll be out for another year, and they're going to be joined by some of the C3s as well, down to what we call the reservoir pond, which, yeah, they're a very special home for them. They'll do well there this year. So, right, let's put the lid on and get them going.
Right, here we are then, down at their new home.
That's right, Joe. Yeah, so these are the bigger ones, the C4s, and we're just going to take a sample away, so we'll just put a couple in the sling.
Whee.
And what we need to do is just establish the average weight of the batch. So that's 2. You tell us what the weight is, Joe.
20.
Hang on a minute. Oh, you're reliable. You haven't weighed a fish in what, 6 months?
6 years it feels like.
It's a bit slow, isn't it?
23 and a half.
We'll weigh 6 and we get an average for the tank, and then all 64 will go down. So let's head down here, Joe.
Cool.
And we'll let these ones go into their new home. I think you should do that.
Right.
As our guest of honour for the day.
I guess the obvious question is, why are you moving into this lake? What's different?
Good question, Joe. Well, it's space, really. You know, you've got to allow them room to grow. They're not going to grow if you leave them in a small pond. So, you know, when they start small, you can cram lots and lots, thousands of little fish like that in a pond. As they get bigger, they need more space. So this pond, although it's still got about 8 to 10 foot of water to come in it to be full, you know, it was harvested 5 weeks ago, and we've limed it to sterilise it, and it's refilling. There's about 8 foot of water in the middle here now, so it gives them loads of space. And those fish that we're harvesting, we're not going to put them all back in here. We're going to put these 64, 65 of the bigger ones in here, 105 of the smaller ones, so we've thinned them out a little bit as well. Right, Joe, you need to let these go into their new home. So,
Cool. It's a little peach. They've darkened up a little bit in that tank, haven't they? Let's get them on that side.
you take the linear, and I'll take the leather. I bet you drop it.
No. God, look at them little scales on the bottom.
There we go. So,
Oh,
there's me knocking you for dropping them.
Oh, look at these.
So these will be coming out next year.
God, we wouldn't want to bring Adam Henning down here. He'd be so excited. He'd just explode.
If you don't get excited at this, you shouldn't be carp fishing. Right then, off you go. Good luck, fish.
You sure I can't take it home? There you go, mate. Enjoy your life.
Fantastic.
Whee. Wrong way. Well, Simon, it's nice to get out of that wind.
A bit rough out there.
Isn't it? Yeah. It's been a great day. Great to see the fish coming on. Obviously, like last year or year before, you know, we saw them at a small size, just great to see him.
Well,
packing
thanks
on
for your
the
help.
way.
Yeah, you got well stuck in today, Joe. It's good to have you here. Thank
yeah,
you.
it's nice.
Viv and I have really enjoyed showing you around and showing you some fish. So
It's rare for me to get my hands dirty.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
And although they're not dirty now, they certainly smell dirty.
Very good for your skin. You'll look 12 tomorrow.
Right, so these fish, any proof of what they can do? In the
Yeah,
future?
well, it's quite fun. You know, I'd be able to show you. You know, Viv and I showed you some C3s and some C4s, but it's quite nice to say, well, you know, this is what they'll look like in a few years' time. So I've got a couple of photos here. These are some of the 10 fish that I put into Rosebery. You know,
Must have been quite an exciting time for you then, wasn't
oh,
it?
it's fantastic, and that's kind of the backbone of Viv and I's business now. Is those fish, that Sutton strain that it's wrong to call the Sutton fish a strain, but that bloodline that we've used have gone on and have done really well, and I've stocked them into various places. The biggest one that we know of to date is done just shy of £46, and there's a couple here I'll show you which have done all right. This is No Name, which is our first cover star. It was on the cover of Advanced Carp Fishing when Phil Bunyan caught it, and yeah, I was obviously, it's pretty. You think, oh, it's one of my lads on the cover of a magazine. Come on! And there he is.
You see it's sort of grown in all proportions. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
they're a bit bigger than when what you looked at just now. This is her in the water last summer, crystal clear Rosebery water, and looking a little bit bigger than it was when Phil Bunyan caught it.
So that's actually there, sitting naturally feeding in the
Yeah,
snags, I presume?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that fish, it looks about £40 there, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
This is a bit of a cracker. This is one we nicknamed Lucky, which is a bit of a long story, but you can see, I mean, that's just like those fish you've been harvesting with us today, and it's absolutely the same, lovely scale pattern. It's a fantastic looking fish. There's another one, sea scale. So you can see that they do really, really well when they get out, and to think that was a 99 spawning. The last capture of that fish was 39.12.
Brilliant. Well,
Job done.
I can see, like you say, they're just growing in all portions, length, depth, and they just look ridiculously healthy as well,
Yeah,
don't they?
good
So
stuff. Good.
you're obviously doing a blinding job. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you, and on behalf of Viv and I, just thanks for coming. It's been a
Cheers.
pleasure. Cheers, Joe.